You just hit play on TechVibe Pittsburgh. This is your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsting. I'm with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. So are you leaving your business vulnerable to cyber attacks that could destroy everything you've ever built? In today's digital landscape, cybersecurity isn't just an IT platform. It's a critical business survival strategy that can make or break your organization's future. Today on TechVibe Pittsburgh, I'm welcoming Dan Desko, founder of Echelon Cyber and Risk, so you can learn how to protect your company from sophisticated cloud-based cyber threats, discover insider strategies for building a resilient security culture, and understand how continuous penetration testing can safeguard your digital infrastructure. Listen now to hear Dan Desko reveal how Echelon Cyber is revolutionizing cybersecurity for businesses across multiple industries, and learn more about him founding one of Pittsburgh's most successful tech companies. Let's welcome Dan to the show now. Dan, it is fantastic to see you again. It's been too long since you've been hanging out with me here at the Huntington Bank studio. So I'm very excited to catch up with you today and learn all things around what's going on with Echelon Cyber and Risk.
Yes, thank you. It's cozy in here today. Cold outside, but it's cozy in the studio.
We try to create that atmosphere here for our guests. We want to be very welcoming. And
I love it.
Yeah, we can get the best out of you that way.
And it has been too long, and that's my fault. We've been busy. We've been very busy.
Well, I'm glad you've been busy because you're solving some tough problems for customers out there. You're employing people, doing all the good work, making Pittsburgh pretty badass as far as I'm concerned.
We're trying.
I'll give you a pass this time. The next time there's no more excuses.
Anytime.
No, all good stuff. In case anyone doesn't know who Dan Desko is, tell me about yourself real fast. And of course, we got to get the elevator pitch for Echelon. What I love about Echelon is you're continually evolving to really meet your customer needs, and you're bringing some really cool tech and insights to all things cybersecurity.
Yeah. So quick background on me. I'm a Pittsburgh guy, born and bred, grew up here, went to Central Catholic High School, Duquesne for college, Pitt for my MBA. So full Pittsburgh all the way.
Got it.
Never really left. Have always been here.
I'm glad we want you here, man. Simple as that.
Absolutely. So now have a family here, wife, 2 kids. We live in the Fox Chapel area. My background, I founded Echelon 4 years ago, or just under 4 years ago. We're going to hit our 4-year mark here in May. But yeah, started with myself and an intern, and now we're over 60 people today.
Back up. See, that's why you get the pass for not stopping by. Because when you scale something to 60 people in 4 years, that's pretty cool, man. Like that gets me excited.
There's
because
a few grays in the hair.
Of course, man. I barely recognized you when you came in the studio. I was like, who's that old man? You're like, oh, it's Dan. No, dude, that's what it's all about. That gets me very excited. When you're employing 60 people, you got some great customers and they're probably around the world, I bet too, right?
Yeah, we have clients all over the place, from coast to coast and internationally as well. So,
did you expect to grow that fast when you did this?
Of course.
Was your plan like, yeah, by year 4 we'll have 60 people? I know you're probably doing something where you're thinking like you're going to pick some customers up, do some stuff, but when all of a sudden you're at 60 people, that's a real company when you don't probably recognize all the people that work for you. Right?
As an entrepreneur, you have to be eternally optimistic, right?
So exactly, I like that. Very cool.
Yeah. So I have to say yes, I believe that, but until it actually happens, it's hard to envision how it's going to happen, but you always have to believe that, that is going to happen.
I like that. No, that's good advice for people out there. You got to stay positive, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you do the right things and you treat your people well, I think treat your clients really well and do good things, that just leads to the growth.
Isn't that amazing? Like when people say that, it always seems like that's so basic, but I think it can be so easy to forget that sometimes because it's hand-to-hand combat when you're building a company like yours. It gets crazy out there, but you got to step back sometimes and remember treating your people right, treating your customers right. That's what's going to really build the foundation.
Absolutely. And I guess there's other low bars out there, right? Because we get people all the time. They're like, this is so refreshing to work with you guys, or this is so refreshing to work here. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's amazing to know that and to hear that. And having a values-led organization and really paying attention to the core values, I think permeating through what we do and starting from that, that helps us big time as well. That's huge.
Now, I'm always curious, like when folks like you start companies, you're usually working at a gig where you're doing pretty well for yourself. You got all the degrees and the background and stuff like that. I always think it's a bold move, and I'm not one of these to make bold moves. That's why I host podcasts. But the idea being that, no, I'm going to actually do something for myself because I see a better way to do it and really break away from something that could be very secure. And I don't want to say guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed, but something that you can more count on to actually go deep into the wild there and be like, no, I'm hanging my own shingle. And maybe you employ 60 people in 4 years. What set you off to do that? Was there something that really gave you an itch to do something better?
Absolutely. First of all, don't sell yourself short. I think what you're doing and how you've grown the Tech Council and your role in that has been nothing short of tremendous.
Oh, thank you. Keep talking. I like this. Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more.
That's not like you.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's one of those things where you sit back and think, like, looking back on a life of no regrets. And
Okay.
it was one of those things. I had an opportunity come up and didn't want to look back on my life and always say what if and
I like that.
and regret that I didn't do that.
That's pretty bold because that's something where I think people can often toggle with that, but sometimes we always turn towards the safe bet. But you're saying like, no, I don't want to regret this. Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Even if I gave it a great try and didn't succeed, at least I know that I gave it everything I had and I could live with that.
Yeah, that's an awesome attitude. I hope people, when they listen to this, they grasp onto that. Because if someone's out there like on the edge, I hope that maybe kicks them over the edge just a little bit. Because yeah, try it. Easier said than done. Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is you fail, but you learn from that. That's the whole point, I would think. And then move on and move forward.
Yeah.
But so far, so good, man.
So far, so good.
Almost 4 years in and customers around the world and 60 people working for you. So I think it shows that you can make this happen.
Yeah. And I think I'm so most proud of the people we have.
Totally. Yeah, how much fun is that when you come in and you see these people that are working and they're working with your customers and that your people are fired up and they're enjoying themselves and they're innovating? That's got to be a pretty cool feeling to be like, wow.
It's awesome. It's the best when you see sort of the values you want your organization on and the people who live those, and it just starts playing out in front of you without you having to like actually direct it. That's when it's, wow, okay, this is like something way bigger than me at this point, or we've all built something pretty special.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm always amazed when people can do that, because getting people to all row that boat in the same direction, that's no easy task. I can hardly bring an intern on sometimes without totally disrupting how I get my job done.
You said the word I always say, it's daily hand-to-hand combat.
Yes.
I think sometimes I'm the chief momentum officer,
Ooh.
right? I've got to be the CMO.
Get going.
No doubt. Always trying to push the pace on.
You're like the flywheel. You got to keep it spinning. Keep that inertia going. Keep the momentum going.
100%.
You give me some good ideas here, Dan. That's why I like hanging out with you. So let's talk about some of the cool services that Echelon has, because you've rolled out some really neat stuff, like some virtual CIO stuff. But what are some of the core services that you offer that have really been the core of your business and have allowed you to go out and experiment and bring some of these new services to life because you've seen need within your current clients, and all of a sudden you're getting new clients because, wow, that's a pretty cool service.
Yeah. So it's a virtual CISO, virtual Chief Information Security Officer. We've actually rebranded it to Security Team as a Service.
Okay.
Which can be led by a virtual CISO.
Gotcha.
The problem today in the virtual CISO world is usually when a company hires a virtual CISO, that's all they get. They get one guy, one gal who has usually great experience, but it's a limited set of experiences.
You only have so much of their attention.
You only have so much of their attention, and they're usually at a very senior level.
Okay.
When what we found is most of the stuff that needs to get done in a security program it's a dash of strategy and oversight, but it's heaps of hands-on, roll up the sleeves work that needs to get done.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's why we believe it takes a team, and we call it a security team as a service. So by default, our clients usually get the virtual CISO, senior person to lead strategy, lead the engagement, but then they have a pod of people that are assigned to the client. So someone doing policy and GRC work, someone doing engineering work, someone doing offensive work. And that pot of people serves that client.
I like this. The idea of assembling a team behind you seems really compelling to me, because they're covering all the different corners and maybe potential blind spots that just one person's going to have.
So you're getting a fractional team rather than just a single body. And our team comes with a whole boatload of tools. Like we have a tool chest full of tools that we bring with us.
Okay.
And if the client doesn't have certain things, there's certain tools that will come with day one that we could start to put in the environment and start to help them.
Yeah. And if anyone listens to any of the stuff I've done over the past almost 20 years here when it comes to all things podcasts, is security, it gets me in a good way that I just feel like it's so important. I've seen companies almost destroyed because of not having good cybersecurity. And then I look at companies like yours that are out there that can do so much good to help a company do the proactive stuff. So people aren't calling you at 3 a.m. saying, I need help. I just feel like these types of services are just essential to any business out there today, because everyone's on the internet, whether they like it or not, and everyone is hackable or exploitable. And having these things in place just seems like the smart way of doing business. I know 10 years ago it was like maybe an idea, maybe I'd have a CISO, but now no, that is part of your execution.
Yeah.
At a certain point or a certain level of a business, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's like table stakes now.
Yeah.
I agree. And there's minimal things that you could do to make yourself way better off than you were before, right? There's a low bar there, right? And
The basics, for lack of a better term, is to make sure that you're just covering the minimum to make it not so easy.
that's
For
exactly
the
right.
hackers
Yeah,
out
100%. 100%. And that's why this virtual model, part-time model works, because we could be super efficient. We could get a lot done with the resources we have in relatively short amount of time.
Okay.
But the thing is consistency. It's like anything in life.
Keyword consistency.
Yeah.
It's always there. It's always being updated to meet the newest
We're always
threats,
paying
the newest
attention to it.
technologies. Yeah, you're always paying attention to it. So I'm curious, do you work across different verticals, or is there one particular vertical that you really play well in? Like, how does that work?
We do work across a lot of different verticals, and there's some super interesting ones that we could highlight here.
Yeah.
We've been, believe it or not, big in the sports.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask it, because I think this is so cool. Tell me more about how you guys work with the Pistons, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that all stemmed back to a relationship that we have with the league, which that has helped us gain relationships all across the league with various teams as well. And it just so happened, right place, right time, when we were working with the Pistons through a different project. They needed additional help with a lot of different things, cyber, and had lots of questions, and were very curious about how to improve themselves.
Okay.
And those are the types of people we want to work with, right?
Absolutely.
The ones who like come prepared to the meeting with an agenda and the things that they want to talk about and the questions they want to ask.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, when someone's coming there, they have more than a basic understanding, but they want to up their game, and they can come to you to up the game and really. And I have to think that with sports teams, their visibility is so high that they have to be on the higher list of targets.
Oh,
of the
totally.
nefarious people out there. So it's, and what I like about this is, if you're working with the Pistons, wouldn't other teams be like saying, hey, the Pistons have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we do work with a lot of other teams now. The Pistons we can talk about freely and openly, because we do also sponsor the team. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. So do you get like special jackets and stuff you can wear to the game?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. That's so awesome.
Yeah. Through that sponsorship, we get to do a lot of different things with them. We just got back from Detroit a couple weeks back. We hosted an event at their Henry Ford Pistons Performance Center, brought in a lot of folks from the community, a lot of local IT folks from the community. And
very cool.
Yep. We did a big learning event. We did a fireside chat with the director of IT with the Pistons. We also talked about instant response planning and preparation.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we did a live tabletop exercise with the crowd.
Oh, fun. Wait a second. I didn't realize you can do that stuff live.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yep.
That's a pretty fun event.
It was super cool. And then the next day we went to the game and watched the Pistons and Cavs in our suite and had a great time. So
nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not at all.
So you're working with sports teams. What are any other verticals that you tend to do a lot of business in?
Healthcare has been huge for us lately.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Once again, that's one of those high visibility targets that hackers love to go after, because why not take down a hospital or a healthcare system in order to get my ransom?
Terrible.
You know what I'm saying?
Terrible.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
This is why I get very passionate about people locking their state down, because there's too many nasty people out there.
Yeah, it's crazy to even think about. But I hear you. There's a huge cancer center that we're working with in the South where ransomware is their top concern. And
Is it really? Wow.
Absolutely.
That's crazy when you think about that. Like, at the board level, people are thinking like, wait a second, there is such danger out there. This is worrying us, and we need to hang out with the best.
Yeah.
In order to keep this from happening.
Yep. So we've done a whole ransomware resilience assessment for them, helping them prioritize what sort of controls they need to put in place, and then helping them like remediate things, put the right controls in place, put the right tools in place, help them do incident response preparation, build their plans and playbooks for ransomware, and then work with their executive team to simulate and do a tabletop exercise of what it might feel like to go through that pain.
Yeah. The tabletop seems like such a cool way to really bring it to life.
Yeah,
and
we've been doing so many of those lately too. It's crazy.
It just makes it real.
Yeah.
All this is it's just ones and zeros somewhere on a server going on, but to actually see something happening and then seeing your solutions mitigate and see it, like, I don't know, it's like watching the airplanes fly and shoot things down.
Yeah. And look, when we do these tabletop exercises too, we tell people to suspend disbelief. And we're going to say that some things are going to get through the defenses, and we have to talk about how we would react to that. And it's not all technical, right? It takes on the shape of, how does legal play into this? How do comms play into this? Would we even pay a ransom? What is our company's stance on paying a ransom?
Yeah. How important is it before we actually get the checkbook out?
Yeah.
Right? Because I think what's amazing is how many ransoms do get paid. This is why people do this, because the ransoms do get paid. I mean, these are millions and millions of dollars.
They are. And some organizations have a very hard stance on, we will never pay a ransom. If that's the organization's stance, then you've got to build resiliency measures into your business out the wazoo to make sure you can recover everything from backups and effectively, fight off the double extortion attempts, right? So they'll steal your data, they'll lock you up. Even if you could recover, they'll say, we're just going to make your data public if you don't pay us.
Exactly.
That's the second extortion attempt. So you got to protect yourself from that as well.
It's a scary world. That's why you've been able to grow your business as well as you have, because their need is out there. And when you're bringing good people, good business practices, and solid tech to it, you're going to be hiring 60 people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you go up to 120, no stress.
Yeah. Give us a year and a half.
That's what I'm saying. No, I believe that. I honestly believe that, 'cause I've seen companies like yours grow like this, and that gets me really excited, because when I see these fundamentals in place, I'm like, yeah, man, like in a couple more years, like there's going to be double the people.
100%.
And that's something that's sustainable. It's not based on a trend or a thing that's going to go away, but it's built because this is the ongoing need and demand that's out there in the marketplace.
That's it.
And you guys are meeting it. That's amazing. So what are some trends that we're seeing out there right now? Is there some crazy stuff? Because I know there's always the core things out there. There's the phishing, there's the ransomware and all this stuff that's going on. But there are more clever ways that people are getting out there, even through like texts we're getting on our phones where it looks like it's our bank, and people click the link, and that can take down your own personal stuff. If you're on a business computer, it could take down the business stuff. But what's out there that you're seeing maybe that we should be thinking about?
Cloud savvy adversaries. So
what's that? Okay.
There's a lot of adversary groups right now that are very cloud savvy. So they know how to pick apart your cloud infrastructure quickly. So they're getting into cloud infrastructure by stealing identities and logging in to cloud infrastructure and then siphoning off data fast. They know how to connect APIs. They know how to siphon off data quickly from cloud storage.
Yeah, they're like super efficient. So once they're in, they just take everything and
they're out. They know that most defenses these days are set up to look at endpoint protections, right? There's a lot of EDR programs out there. A lot of really strong things like CrowdStrike, who we're a major partner of CrowdStrike. But they see the chink in the armor as, well, if I could steal like the right person's identity and I'm able to log in and work my way into the deep bowels of the cloud infrastructure, I should be able to siphon that data off and run commands to move that data out. Looking at protecting identities, detecting identity related threats that are happening, but then also having the right things in place to say, hey, this much data should not be leaving our environment at this rate.
Interesting. So there's actually monitors to say, why are we losing gigs of data?
For sure.
Seconds? Yeah. Okay. Red flag, right?
And not enough people are paying attention to that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm also curious. I've heard a lot that there's a lot of social engineering that goes on where people can actually just get login credentials by thinking being somebody saying, hey, I need let into this system or I forgot my password. Can you give it to me? And then people will break protocol where you're not supposed to do it. They're like, oh, yeah, it's so and so. Oh, I'll give you your password again. Is that something you're seeing a lot of too?
We do, and we incorporate that testing into our red teams.
Oh, okay.
So I was just out on the West Coast for some NBA All-Star Game fun, but I also piggybacked a work trip where we were presenting the results of a red team that we recently did.
Tell me about that. Okay.
Yeah, so a red team is like when we act as a threat actor would do, and we use the same tactics, techniques, procedures, TTPs the threat actor would use against an organization like that in that industry. Only a small subset of people at the company know that this is occurring, and we're not given much, if any, inside knowledge of the organization or what they're doing.
Interesting.
So
this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like you're literally like doing what like a hacker would do.
100%.
But making sure that you're not going to ransom them at the end.
We have some fake ransomware, like something will pop up on the screen.
Cool. It just looks scary, right?
But we do the social engineering as part of that. And
Nice.
this client did great. Their people did wonderfully. And what we'll do is we'll research them first, and we'll create lookalike login pages. We'll create like stuff that looks like their stuff with fake domains that we'll register that are seasoned and warm domains, not brand new. And we'll send them like, hey, you need to log into this system and download this thing to do this maintenance. You're the last person in your department that hasn't done this yet.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Let's go.
You're doing some social engineering here. I like it.
And then we'll call them. So then we'll call them the next day or a day later and say, hey, did you see our email? Why did you not do this yet? We're gonna have to report this to your manager if you don't do this. So we will try those same attempts that the threat actors are using, and the threat actors are using very similar techniques.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is exactly like the stuff I've seen. Like I've literally gotten texts saying, "Hey, this is your boss. It's like I need you to get me some gift cards for this thing we're doing." It's just like what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's like I didn't realize that you guys actually simulate at that level when it comes to doing these types of exercises. That's really neat.
Yeah, we'll actually deliver our own custom malware. So we'll deliver our own custom malware through these types of phishing attacks and vishing attacks to allow us to gain access to our client systems. And it's very similar to what's in use by the threat actors, except what we use is benign. It's not going to cause any harm.
Exactly. But enough to where you can actually assess what would happen.
Yeah.
And you can simulate through it. And it also becomes a great teaching point from a cultural standpoint of your business that people realize that they were under a fake hack, that you got to be on your toes all the time and you just don't go clicking on stuff.
100%. No doubt.
And there's always someone that's going to click.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Yep.
And at the Tech Council many years ago, we actually did a similar thing to this. And this was a pretty easy one to spot. Like I spotted it. Not that I'm so smart, but
you're pretty smart.
Certain things where you get like, wait a second, they wouldn't address me like this. Why is that website that? We had 3 people just click on it. And what was cool was, they got a big, like, your computer's been taken over, and actually locked their computer down for a little bit.
Yeah.
So to freak them out. And it was like, that's how you learn. but you want to learn that way.
And it's who reports that, or do they just, I'm leaving for lunch now?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I said, that's why I'm such a big proponent of this. And I feel like it's got to be part of your culture and your DNA at a company.
No doubt.
And why these are things that you just don't handle yourself with software you download yourself. Like I always tell people, there's certain things you don't mess with. Cyber is one of them, and you work with a company like Echelon Risk and Cyber to make it happen.
100%.
You're doing these tabletop exercises, which I think is so much fun.
Yep.
That's amazing stuff, man.
It's very cool.
Obviously, the way you're growing, the services you're rolling out, the things that you're doing, like you got to be pretty stoked to be here in Pittsburgh, like building this company. Like, where do you see yourself moving in the next 6 months or so? I know it's hard to predict. But I'm just curious, anything where you see the company moving towards new services, new verticals? I don't know.
Yeah. So we've added some new leadership at the end of last year. We've added Travis Weathers, who he's the senior director of our offensive security team. He was out of Optiv, leading Optiv's pen test program nationally.
Nice.
And
So with backup,
yeah.
how cool is that, right? That you can hire that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is a guy that can work any place he wants to. He's choosing to work for you and with Echelon.
Totally.
Dan, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when he came to us, it was between us and a very big cloud
Oh, yeah?
company
Okay.
that he also had an offer for.
Very cool.
Yes.
Okay. I always like to point out to people, like, people can work where they want in this field. And when they choose to work
Totally.
for you, there's a reason for that. That's just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was our value more cowbell that I think pushed him over the edge.
It's okay. I love you guys.
Yeah. But that's one great example of a new leader we have at the organization
Right.
that's helping us evolve and do new and cool things and
Okay.
expand our capabilities. So, for example, we're shifting a lot of one-time projects into more long-time recurring things with, because our clients want to keep us around. We could do a one-time red team, right, where we do the thing and then we're gone. Now we have something called a continuous pen test, or we'd like to call it OffSec 365.
Whoa, I like that better, man. That's
Right?
super cool.
So,
Well, as chief momentum officer, those are the things you got to be doing.
Yeah,
Come on.
that's right. So yeah, we will continuously pen test and bang on the doors of the environment.
And do you do it when they don't know it's going to be happening? So you just randomly start doing it?
We're always doing it. Always doing it.
Cool.
Yeah. So every week we'll have an engineer assigned to.
It's like, I'm ready to make your Monday miserable.
Actually, it's not making anybody's lives miserable. It's all about just making sure that they didn't introduce any new issues into the environment.
Absolutely.
And it's the equivalent of the security guard walking around the building, jiggling the locks,
making sure.
right?
Okay, so you do some lock jiggling on Monday.
100%.
Every day.
Throughout the year.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's the problem with a one-time pen test or a red team. It's like you only get the sense of what the security was like that day.
Exactly, because it changes every single day.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, a client we were working on, they introduced something into the environment during the red team that we were performing, and our people caught it. And they introduced something into the environment like 2 days before it got hardened. But we caught it in that interim period.
Okay.
And it led to domain admin, full access to their entire network.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. It was a certificate issue.
See, this is where I understand, whereas as they see this happening, they're like, wait, Dan, we need you around all the time. Like, why would we wait till next year to do this again when I can have this continually surveyed, right?
That's right. Now the client changed their process on rolling out that thing. So it's completely hardened before it actually gets put into the production environment. But if we weren't around continuously in this environment, they never would have caught that they had that weakness, right? What wasn't there last week, it wouldn't have been there the week after. It was in that period of time where we caught it. So we're trying to do much more of that. We're doing that on the defensive side too. We've added managed detection and response capabilities to our suite of services, managed vulnerability management, managed firewall. So we're doing a lot more. And a lot of this ends up getting layered onto the security team as a service.
Okay.
So that's
pretty
kind
cool.
of the baseline.
You can come in with this module, for lack of a better term, and you can then add capabilities and layers to it as you go, depending on what's needed, as you continually find new stuff and everything like that.
Yeah, depending on what they do already internally.
And you can grow with the company as well, too, which I think is probably a very important part, that you can scale with the company.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because when I see how some companies are growing, obviously it's just amazing how within the course of 6 months, their cyber needs can totally change.
Totally.
Their vulnerabilities can be just completely different at that point, but you're able to match up with it. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
This is why I love talking to you. This is why I think it's so exciting that there's a company here in Pittsburgh that's doing this type of work. That's very, I don't know, I'm impressed. I'm very glad you decided to not have regret and move forward and build this. This is one of these really, I think, amazing stories that shows this is what people are building here in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, 100%. And
so keep it in Pittsburgh. If you move it anywhere, you're in trouble with me.
I don't plan on it.
Good.
Yeah, when I'm out and about and people are like, where are you from? And they totally expect us to say like New York or San Francisco or one of the big cities. But when I say Pittsburgh, they're like, that's really interesting.
I love hearing
Tell
that.
me more about Pittsburgh.
Good. See, that's what we need. You can be like a little evangelist out there, just continuing the storytelling, letting people know that Pittsburgh's a great town for this type of stuff.
Many times a week.
Awesome,
that conversation happens.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Oh, so much fun talking to you, Dan. What a great
You
conversation.
Too. You do. Thank you.
It's not going to be a couple of years. Unless you hire 400 people, then you're allowed.
You just got to invite me back.
I will.
All right.
Put you on the routine.
All right.
Once again, Dan, you're the best. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Hey, this is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, bringing you TechVibe. This is your front row seat to all the great stuff happening across our tech and innovation ecosystem.